screw it, I'm going to put everything in Bitcoin.
Whitelists are currency. And so if you can get on whitelist for some of these really exciting upcoming projects, it's typically like a guaranteed $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 profit.
First of all, this is not financial advice. Don't sue me.
10Xs are very, very common in the NFT space. That's why I've been so heavy into it.
Me, I'm mostly like DCAing into like the biggest coins.
I went back and I did the math. If I would have done that 100K in December of 2020, in March, like 5 months later, it would have been worth like 980. So
Jack, my man.
Brett, how you doing, dude?
Hey, my man.
Carl, my man, how you doing?
Hey, Yomi, bro.
I got a question for you, dude. If you had $10,000, how would you invest in crypto?
If I only have $10,000, I would watch a lot of people on YouTube and on Twitter, and I would try to find what is like the next big narrative, like what is the next thing that people are not talking about yet, but will talk about in a few days, basically, and try to invest in it. But that's the risky strategy.
So, first of all, this is not financial advice. Don't sue me, because I'll sue you back, because I'm petty. So don't sue me. I would say I'm going to give you probably the most boring answer, but the least risky option. And the reason is because $10,000, as you know, is not really a whole lot of money. It's not money that you can go around and gamble. It's not money that can make you rich super fast. So this is just for people starting out. And if it's all you have to invest, I recommend a lower risk option. So I would say first thing is first, do a lot of research and start at the very bottom of the whole ecosystem. Like understand the blockchain technology, and try to like come up with your own narrative as to why you feel like it's going to be part of the future, because you're investing in it. And so you should understand it. Understand the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then that will help you when you find other like small cap altcoins. When you look at their project and what they're doing, you could go back and be like, oh, okay, this fixes a problem that Ethereum does have or Bitcoin has. And this is why this is probably going to be big in the future. So it's important to understand the technology behind the things you're investing in, because that can help you make a better decision, right? And then, so the first step, I have this laid out in steps. The first step is make sure that the 10K that you're investing in is disposable money that you can lose. Obviously, you don't want to lose it, but money that if you were to lose, your life wouldn't be over. You could still pay rent, you could still feed your children. So this is disposable money that we're playing with.
The first thing you have to realize your like risk appetite. So if you don't mind about losing this money, then there's one thing you could do. Or if this money is like very important and you want a safer investment, the safe investment, the kind of the boring way, I would put 5K in Bitcoin, 5K in Ethereum. Now, it's incredibly boring, but it gives you a little bit of access to cryptocurrency in like a safer kind of way.
If I want to be a bit more safe, I would like basically DCA into the top 20 coins I like the most and like think long term.
Yeah, that's an incredible question. And the long story short is that I would take 50% of that, $5,000, and put it straight into Bitcoin with, of course, very, very low risk. And then I would take maybe $2,000 out of that and put it into medium risk, which would be Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, these coins that definitely have already proven themselves, which means that the risk shouldn't be very, very high, while still having the upside potential that some people would claim you don't have in Bitcoin anymore. I would disagree, though. I think Bitcoin still has a 50x potential from here, but still low risk and then medium risk. And then I would take the remaining $2,000-$3,000 into high risk, and then I would look into everything from NFTs to crypto gaming to anything else very highly speculative out there. And obviously I would do some research if I'm investing my whole net worth into something. So if you only have $10,000, I would make sure to do the research and allocate the money very, very specifically.
And then step two is I would probably put about 80% of it into like a lower risk project. Like, for example, I would average into Ethereum over a bear market, over like a 12-month period, and just put 80% of it there. And then I would leave the extra 20% for like small cap altcoin projects that can easily like 100 or whatever 200x during the next bull market. That's what I would do if I had 10k. If I had 100k, it'd be a very different story. But just because it's a low amount of money, that's what I would do. These small cap projects, a lot of them oftentimes will do staking, and they'll offer staking because they want people to, you know, participate in the network and be early adopters. And so you could stake oftentimes great projects that are going to explode for extremely high APYs. That's what I did with a particular coin. I was doing like 60% a year, and the project like 20x'd like a couple months after I bought it. So that's obviously a huge win. And you can, you know, when Ethereum 2.0 comes out, you can stake that. So yeah, I would really look into staking most of it, since it's a low cap, going into a low risk project, and then a small portion going into high risk and staking those as well. That's what I would do with 10k.
The second more exciting and potentially more volatile way, I would put 2k in Bitcoin, 2k in Ethereum, just so you have a bit of like stability. And then I would put 4k in altcoins, specifically gaming altcoins, GameFi, and also metaverse, because even though they have gone up quite a bit recently, I still think they are very undervalued for the next like 5 years. And then I would actually take 2k and put it into NFT whitelist spots. So this is basically where you can mint NFTs for like 0.2 Ethereum, and potentially if you get some good ones, they can 5 to 10x respectively. Not all of them, of course. However, in the short term, it's quite a good way to grow capital.
It's kind of been a little boring lately. Would NFTs count?
I knew you were gonna ask that. All right, considering you are pretty much the foremost expert in NFTs right now, yeah, let it rip.
Oh, there's a really new marketplace coming out right now called Treasure. It's been out for a while. It's on the Arbitrum network. Some of the smartest minds in the NFT space have gotten very, very early, and they actually do have a token. So it is a token. It's the magic token. I'd probably putting at least $3,000 to $4,000 into that, and then even look at some of the NFTs on their marketplace. You know, it's a little speculative, but at the end of the day, that's when you get the biggest returns, if you actually have conviction and believe in the right projects. And everyone I know, that's one of the most exciting projects out right now. Top of that, I mean, you have to get into the OpenSea NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. That's where all the excitement is. It's where all the big projects are. So if you don't know where you're going, definitely just go on Twitter. Follow some of the best NFT influencers in the space to actually get insights and see what's going on. But right now, if you're looking for upcoming projects, whitelists are currency. And so if you can get on whitelists for some of these really exciting upcoming projects, it's typically like a guaranteed $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 profit from only like a $200, $300 investment. So 10Xs are very, very common in the NFT space. That's why I've been so heavy into it. On top of that, the technology behind this is the future of our world. But a few projects I'm looking at right now, probably Goobers. I really like Treeverse. It's more established, but it's kind of like the RuneScape of the blockchain. NFT gaming is the future of gaming, and that's a huge industry. We all know that. So OpenSea, Treasure, Twitter, that's where you need to be.
Yeah, for sure. So what you're saying is you wouldn't be buying NFTs in the open market if you only had 10K available to you. You would only assign that 2K
most likely
to mint spots.
Most likely not. But you can do it. It's a lot easier if there's great projects that you can get a whitelist spot on. If you're active in the community, they'll give you a whitelist. And usually on launch, you can 2, 3, 4, 5x usually in the first 10 days. So I think it's a much better strategy than buying, let's say, something that's already out there on OpenSea for 1 Ethereum and then waiting like 6 months for it to go up to 2 Ethereum. I think it's a much better way to mint them.
All right. So one follow-up question. You mentioned there that whitelist is currency, and I think that's super. That's a tweet right there. But how do you actually get whitelist in these projects?
These projects that have a lot of excitement, they're typically trying to reward their most active members, people that are showing the most interested or participating the most. And in NFT world, Discord is where communities live. So if you're in a Discord, you're talking a lot, you actually get a level, you get experience, and they'll be able to see if you're actively engaging in the community. And if you contribute, they typically reward you with whitelist spot.
Obviously, myself, I have invested in over 350 crypto companies in the past 24 months. So I have not had the time to do the research on every single company. I have my research team, and they tell me where I should probably allocate my money. But I have the strategy now that I believe in crypto so much. I know it's the future, whether it's NFTs, metaverse, DeFi, or Bitcoin. I know it's the future. So I want to have my whole net worth very, very aggressively allocated into crypto. So I've invested in over 350 crypto startups. I've started my own companies as well. under the Moon Group, and essentially my whole net worth is definitely crypto, whether it's my crypto companies or my crypto investments or my yield farming strategies that I'm doing as well, making a few actually 7 figures per month from that as well. So but if I only had 10,000, I would do 50% Bitcoin, maybe 20-30% Ethereum, and another 20-30% into high risk.
Do you believe, if someone's investing $10,000, do you believe, I guess, what timing should they invest in? Do you believe in dollar cost averaging, or do you think just wait until you see a large pullback and then just deploy all 10,000 then? In terms of actually timing the market and knowing when to put funds in, what's your strategy there?
I'm a huge proponent of dollar cost averaging. I think that is the easiest and safest way for people to get into the market. Obviously, if you do want to time the market, that is a process that takes time to learn. Obviously, on my channel, that's what I'm trying to teach people. But definitely, I would say that if you want no headache, dollar cost average, buy a little bit every single week, whether it's Bitcoin or high risk coins. It's better to do that rather than go all in on one day, because it saves you the headache of seeing your whole portfolio go down 30% the day after you bought. Because somehow the universe works in a funny way where if you buy a coin, usually it dumps straight after. That is something that all crypto investors have noticed. I think it's like, it's just how markets work, I guess.
For sure. All right, well, dude, that answers my question. I appreciate it.
I got one other question for you. I know that you've been in the crypto space a long time, and some of the other people that I've decided to put in this video, they had successful businesses, or they had sort of capital to put in. You probably fit the narrative of the person watching this video, or the title of this video, because you are really like a true crypto millionaire, where it's like you went from nothing to, definitely a small fortune.
3 years ago, I was putting bin bags in the bins in an ice rink. So definitely, I didn't come from money for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm curious. The reason I say this, as I said, because some of the people, for example, like myself, I was a millionaire before I even invested anything into crypto. Well, anything reasonable. So with you, what did you actually invest your first 10,000 in?
I actually put it all in Bitcoin. I sold a company I had back in 2017, and I just thought, screw it, I'm going to put everything in Bitcoin. Bitcoin was at like $2,500, $2,000. I put 20K in, I got 10 Bitcoin. Back then, I thought I was like a god or something like that with 10 Bitcoin. And if I'd have just waited a few years, I would have realized I would have been. Now I have a lot more than that, but I put it all in Bitcoin. Right now, I wouldn't do that. Bitcoin, it's a great investment long-term, in my opinion, but you're not really going to create any real wealth if you're just putting 10K in Bitcoin and leaving it for a few years. It's not really going to do too much.
All right, one final question for you. There are obviously projects built on Ethereum and built on Solana. Which one do you think has more opportunity if you only have $10,000 available to you?
10,000, that's a good chunk of change. And 98% of NFT volume is on Ethereum on OpenSea. And so if you want to play with the big dogs, you have a good amount of money, I'd say you place your bets there. It's going to be the safest with the most upside potential. Now, Solana, they're known for not having any gas fees. And so you can your money goes a little bit further. But at the end of the day, every top 20, 30, 40 project in the NFT space is all on Ethereum.
All right, then I'm curious, because that's your advice, knowing what you know now. What did you invest your first 10K?
Okay, so the first 10K I've ever put in crypto ever was Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Litecoin, of course. Yeah, so it was Ethereum. At the beginning of 2020, December 2020, I was, and I have this text. This makes me upset. I was prepared to invest 100,000 across 10 to 15 different high risk altcoins. And I went back and I looked through my messages, because my crypto friend was like, hey, bull market's about to start. The party's about to be here. Put money in. So yeah, I put 30K in Ethereum. That ended up being a huge win. But if I went back and I did the math, if I would have done that 100K in December of 2020, in March, like 5 months later, it would have been worth like 980. So yeah, whatever.
Awesome,
But I
man.
still had other wins. I still had other wins. That coin that I did talk to you about, I invested like 30 something K into it, and I've been staking it this whole time. And my staking rewards have already paid off my initial investment. And so that money exists in my wallet for free. And at one point it was worth like 570 grand, 560 grand, which is like just free money. So it's an interesting space for sure.